Which science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown, an illusion?
Where you been?
Drunk.
Wendy, darling, light of my life.
What is your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death? Yeah, so fuck up and die.
But to be honest, this movie could be gayer. If I'm being real, it could be gayer.
Oh, 100%. No, this is very like
he has sex with a
Challengers
lady.
could have been sexier.
Yeah.
I know, right? No, dude, that's actually someone posted that like on a personal blog or somewhere. Victoria was looking it up, and they're like, I left after like an hour of this movie because it's like they have more heterosexual sex in this movie than they do.
That's an
gay
interesting
sex.
point because it's like you see him bust his bust face right with the girl early, and she laughs, and then you see him Chalamet's bust face again in the Peach, but like during their sexual escapades, it's like it's very much classic like. They're fooling around, and then it like pans over, and then it cuts to the next day, like kind of vibes.
Well,
it's like, come on, Luca. I know you got the spine for it. That's why I want to watch Queer now, because I feel like now he would just be like Daniel Craig just penetrating a guy, probably.
Right.
Hopefully.
No, I mean that's what. Yeah, full frontal. There better be full frontal because this movie was supposed to have full frontal, and he chickened out, little chicken. But what I love about that scene, and we can get to it a little bit later, but I'm just gonna get it over with now because it's the Hays Code, and he did that as like a joke. Like it was like they're having sex, and he pans over to the tree.
Yeah.
And it's like I actually really appreciated that.
It is, and it's the tree and that is all symbolic of their shit, on her. Anyway, but so you might be wondering, gee, what are you guys talking about there?
So gay right now.
We're doing queer cinema this month, and the first movie that won, obviously, is the one we're talking about today. You clicked the thing, is Call Me by Your Name, which interestingly, I was excited because it's been on my list forever, but like I didn't realize how we've watched like most of the Luca Guadagnino movies,
ones.
like
his
all
big
the like
ones,
major
dude.
English ones, I think.
Yeah.
Which is surprising because we haven't even done that with like a lot of other directors, but
No,
right. We watched two in October.
Yeah, that's what's so funny. I know we always do that. We always forget. I guess not for Horrortober, but for but we did. I watched Bones and All, and I was like, oh, Bones and All is probably my favorite movie by him, And then I was like, oh yeah, Duck, he did Suspiria. I always forget that, and so I was like, Suspiria is probably my favorite movie by him.
I think Bones and All inches it out for me,
but
well,
yeah, I give it
just because
Suspiria,
it just is
Bones and
the
All's so
perfect
good.
vibe. Yeah, Suspiria, you can't go wrong. They're all good. That's the thing, because we'll get into it. Like that, this movie, out of all the ones I've seen, is my least favorite from him. But as we used to say, this is his panic room, where it's like it's still a goddamn good movie. And it's like when you're batting this hard all the time, your worst movie is still better than fucking 90% of the movies that come out. So it's like, I still really like this movie. This is like a 7 out of 10 for me, probably, and which is still great. So, but I don't know. And I don't know. Challengers, I wasn't sure about when I saw it. I kind of want to go back and listen to that episode again because it's like that was a movie that I didn't sure how I felt about it initially, but the more we talked about it and the more I thought about it, the more I liked it, kind of vibe. So,
yeah, and I think I'm hoping,
and I feel like that's going to be this
with this.
I feel like it will.
I'm hoping though but I also I'm like. It's a disservice because this is like one of his first, American.
Yeah, you forget like
English
pictures. This wasn't that long ago, but it's somehow because it's like, but then yet because 2017 simultaneously doesn't feel like that long ago, and also feels like eons ago.
Forever ago, yeah. And he filmed it in 2015.
Oh,
he shot
so
it.
It's like,
it took him like 2 years to get this movie going.
It makes sense because
so
this is like Chalamet and him kind of like breaking out in like in that way, like in a big way, I guess. So,
yeah.
But it still feels like, I don't know. It doesn't feel like, oh, because he's an older guy too. So it doesn't feel like, oh, this is early on in his career. Like even though this is like one of his first like English language ones, I think, right?
Yeah, and he didn't start filmmaking until the 2000s.
Yeah. Yeah,
I think he dabbled in the 90s, like late 90s, like
Yeah.
97 is his first credit on IMDb. And then and it's like he did a lot of shorts and such, kind of did that. And so it's kind of cool. Like he was a little bit
of a
there. I
late
didn't
bloomer.
read the rest, but I don't know what he probably was in the like music industry or something. He was probably in tentative, creative industry.
I'm just happy that like
sorts,
2 years ago, I did not know who this guy was. And
Yeah.
in the last couple years, though, it's just like I've watched these movies because it's like I watched Suspiria first, but it didn't really ever
And we
click.
watched Suspiria on the back of Suspiria. Like we didn't watch it because of him. We had no
Yeah.
idea, And so it's like we watched that, and I was blown out of the water with Suspiria. So
Yeah, it's
I
awesome.
kind of I like.
So I'm really. We'll start talking about this movie, but before we do,
Yeah,
I'm
did you
really
write a
excited.
synopsis?
No, but I'm really excited for
Oh.
his next movie, which is American Psycho, which will be interesting coming from him. So
I know.
I really like his
I'm
look.
Nervous, but whatever.
I'm not, man.
Right.
I have full confidence because really like the book, really like the movie,
True.
the 2000 movie with Christian Bale, but I think it can be improved upon. I don't think it's untouchable. It's not one of those movies that's like untouchable. Like it's a very good satire, and it's got
I
a
agree.
really great
Yeah.
Christian Bale performance and Defoe, obviously. But anyway, we'll save that. So I didn't write a synopsis. I was gonna, but then I realized this movie does not have that many moving parts. I feel like I don't need to. So
No.
I'm gonna give you a very quick synopsis, and well, hopefully that'll suffice. Call Me by Your Name. It's the early to mid 80s in Italy, and fucking see, now I'm forgetting the names. Oh my god, I should have written it down.
my
Oliver
heavens, dude.
comes to stay.
Well,
Played by Armie
yeah.
Hammer. Oliver comes to stay. He's a foreign exchange student that comes from America to stay with kind of like a mixed cultural family, where Elio, right, is the teenage son of the professor that they go to stay with at their like manor estate in in Italy. So Oliver comes. He's the foreign exchange student, and that's Armie Hammer. And then Timothy Chalamet is Elio, and he's the sophisticated, moody 17-year-old son. They come to stay, and the whole movie is just very vibes, very kind of chill going through the summer. Some school stuff, a lot of just hanging out, swimming, But their chemistry, obviously.
Going to discotheques.
Oh, sure. And their chemistry is very much at the center of the movie. So it's like it starts in there, kind of have a lot of friction, not like a ton, but it's like passive aggressiveness and kind of all this stuff. And Oliver's seen as arrogant, Elio's seen as snotty, kind of. And so that goes, but then eventually they kind of realize that they actually kind of like each other, and Elio is like, I actually like you for real, in a way that's more than friends. And Oliver's like, oh, I don't know, that's shame, we can't be seen doing that kind of stuff because of my, culture in America and stuff, where it is so shameful.
Right in front of the World War One.
I know
monument too, right
know.
there in front of it.
The nerve. But so he fights it for a minute, but then they kiss and they want to hump, and they obviously enjoy each other. But Oliver's a little resistant, and he's a little older too. But it's they kind of go through, and then they bounce back where it's Oliver's doing his own thing, and so Elio's whatever, and so he gets with this other girl who he's been kind of off and on hanging out with, and he sleeps with her. But then they kind of just finally do have their click, and they come around and they actually fully embrace each other in the secret, obviously, but they fully embrace each other, and they're sleeping together and adventuring together, and they finally are I don't know, they never say I love you, but they're call me by your name, the name of the fucking movie. And so that goes along until eventually, as we kind of knew is coming, but you forget, because it's just the fucking summer love, baby, puppy love, going on those vibes of the, and, also Timothy Chalamet fucks a peach, and then Armie Hammer eats it. Which obviously I'm gonna blow past that because it's that's the vibes. You don't need to know the beat.
I mean, that's my favorite part. So we'll have to talk about it.
The
go
summer inevitably comes to an end, and Armie Hammer has to go back to America, and so they kind of they don't really say their goodbyes very good, because it's what do you say? So he goes back, Elio, he's sad that he's gone, but his dad is very understanding and even kind of knows about his relationship. And his dad's super chill, gives him a good talk, and is like, just like, don't shut it out, be who you are, and like grow from the positives and all that. It's a very nice message.
Exactly.
And then
throughout the whole movie, the parents are very supportive.
They 100%.
They know.
They're very supportive. Right. They feel it. They don't overtly say it like, I can't believe Elio's super gay actually with this foreign exchange student, but they're like, oh, they're like, why don't you go out with him? You know what I mean? Like, go accompany him, because it's obvious that they get joy from each other's company. So it's like, fuck it, right? And then winter comes. It's like kind of forward in the winter, and then it's kind of Oliver calls calls to tell them that he's getting engaged, and the parents know that that's like they're just like, they know it's kind of a little bit of a heartbreak, but it's like, okay, move on with their lives. And, so he gets engaged and he lives his life in America, and he's like, I'm not coming back. Probably, it's assumed, and ends with Elio, like, bittersweet, like, he's not devastated, but he's letting himself feel the loss in a mature way for a 17-year-old. I feel like it's not going to ruin his life, but he's letting himself feel the loss. Ends with him just kind of crying and looking into the fireplace, which is a great credits, because then the credits roll over that, and it's a great
the credits roll over. And I like how the table is getting set there, and it really emphasizes like life going on. Like it just keeps on going on. Fantastic credit scene, yeah.
It is, and that's the movie. It's very much just like a summer love comes and goes, the building of these relationships. Very much Elio's like coming of age, and a little bit of a character study of the two of them and their relationship and stuff. It's good. Pretty good. And that's it.
I don't know. Yeah. Right. Yeah. That sums it up pretty well. It's like, I do enjoy the, like, kind of, I mean, this is one of those, like, Crema, the town of Italy, is also another character. Like, it really like the vibes of the, it's one of those, like,
riding your bike, smoking cigarettes, reading books by the pool, like their
and
villa.
It's always kind of like
the town.
It's always like, golden hour, when they're doing stuff, and it's like,
I don't know.
It's really beautiful, and everything's ancient. It's really cool.
I've said this. I made Italy look great, and it made the 80s look great. But I've said this before on previous films that we've covered from old Luca, is like, I don't know how he gets this buttery, warm, soft cinematography in all of his movies. Like, that is kind of like, I feel like his trademark is like a very soft, shallow depth of field, but also like a really kind of grainy, old school, like Fujifilm style look to his movies that feel I guess the best way to say it is like organic. And they look good enough to eat. I would eat that cum covered celluloid peach, man. It is so good.
Yeah, that peach, dude. Yeah, I love that scene. Obviously, that's great. But let's go first impressions. So you have seen this for the first time. I've seen this for the first time.
That was the first time.
I don't know. It's interesting. I like that. I like the Lolita homages throughout it. That was cool. There was some great sunglasses, some great him like laying out on the beach towel. Like, it's very central. I like how they kind of flip it on its head too, where it's like Oliver is the one that's, portrayed as like almost immature, and that's
he is kind of the way, even though he's the older one, and Elio's like, he's like a little bit more lustful. He's the one that chases it,
Right. And I think that's interesting. I'm still kind of, this is a movie I definitely want to watch again to kind of see the little odds and ends. Or what I really need to do is I need to read the book, because apparently in the book it is a lot more sex. It's really graphic, and which I'm 100% down for.
Yeah.
And what's really cool is I can't remember exactly if in the first book it starts to go through decades, but there's a sequel, and it's like every 10 years or something like that. It's something like it's periods
like
through his life
sunset.
and their relationship. Kind of, yeah, right, exactly.
It's like every 10 years.
It literally
or
is.
Something.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like him getting older, and they never get back together. I think, spoiler alert, I'm not 100% sure. This was like I was looking online, and it was like, so I'm like,
This
that
honestly
is so
feels
cool.
like
and
a good companion piece to the book. Like honestly, sometimes reading a book and watching a movie, like I'm kind of always torn about like I don't want the movie to inform how I feel about the book, and sometimes vice versa. But in this case, it feels like watching the movie, then reading the book, because it's like the best parts about the movie is like the music, the cinematography, and like the main characters.
Right.
So you kind of can take that with you into the book to be like, the companion piece of like, 'cause I've never been to fucking Italy, let alone Italy in the fucking super awesome gay 80s that they get to experience. And it's like, so taking that with me into the book would be good. I think that's a good idea. Let's read that. I should add that to my list because it's normally not the kind of thing I read. I read like very genre stuff, but
right.
I bet I've heard the book is good. Yeah.
So I think that like you're saying, it would really help to contextualize like the book, because it is
the atmosphere.
Just such
Bring
a
it in.
beautiful,
It's hard to...
beautiful like glow that he has about it. But there is something about his films that like I think this is what happened in Challengers too, and that's how come I'm hoping in Queer it's a little more like I don't know, satisfying. Like this movie just like I kept just being like it's like edging you the whole time. Even when they finally hook up, it pans to the tree.
Does the pan
and
away,
then it's like and then they're just kind of like playful, whatever you want to call it. I don't whatever,
like
just being that
wrestle,
like, that
kiss,
lustful.
play, and then it's just like it does.
Right, but then even after that, it's like they're just together, and all it's doing is like the like touching fingers.
It's
and
interesting,
kind of looking at each other
because it's like you feel teased because it's like the whole relationship is the start of a relationship, and so I think that's like another part of like the melancholy and the kind of like almost nostalgia aspect for this movie has, like not even just the time period and the area, but like it's the beginning of a relationship when everything's exciting and kind of anxious and like playful, and so that's like all it is. It never gets a chance to mature to like we're dating and we have like comfortable sex together. It's like we don't even get to see the sex they do have, but it's like he sucks him off for like 2 seconds just to see if he can get him hard and then moves on, and it's just like that's they're like,
and that's a great
about to bang in the alleyway,
actually
and then he's like, oh, I hear that fucking dope music. It's like it always there's always something that kind of keeps it from happening, and it leads to looking back on it with like, oh, the what if it never got to the point. It's like he probably looks back on. They both probably look back on that summer of like, what would my life would have been like, and that always leaves way more of an impact because it's like that seed, as opposed to like, oh, we dated for 2 years, and it's like I knew what if, and then so it's like I look at it differently. But yeah, like you say, but it's like I think the tease and like the edging becomes a part of that. So, let me tell you my first impressions. I struggled a little bit. I gotta admit, I struggled, but. Okay. I admit,
hey, you're in a safe place, man.
I know.
Lay it on.
I admit fully, and this is a me problem. I am not a patient man, generally speaking. I can get into the mood for movies, and I often do. I mean, we talk about it all the time, but like First Cow is a very chill, very relaxed, kind of like paced movie. And but I had to watch this last night for the podcast. I was like not in the best headspace, having tooth pains. I fucking was having issues with the kids. Like it was just one of those nights where I'm just like, I was having a really hard time, just like really like paying attention and like settling into this movie in the way that I feel like it deserved. And so I did struggle to like for it to maintain my attention. And I don't think that's a fault of the movie necessarily, like I say, but I wasn't in the right mindset. So I turned it off. I was like, you know what? I'm going to finish this movie tomorrow. Hopefully, even though it's harder for me to watch movies in the morning with the kids and stuff, that it's just like, hopefully tomorrow I'll come at it a little bit better. But I was like feeling agitated and shit. So I watched like half of it, and then I watched the other half this morning, and I had a much better time with it this morning, even though my fucking son was running around like a psychopath in the background. But I was like, I don't know. I felt like I was more immersed in it. I didn't touch my phone like at all. You know what I mean? Where it's like the night before, I was just like, "Oh, what time is it?" Like, like I'm impatient. But
Yeah.
But I went in like obviously now knowing, like we said, like Luca Guadagnino, like how much we like him now. It's like I went in knowing more of his work that came later, so I still really appreciate it. But yeah, it's like there's not the. This is a lot looser than some of his other stuff. You know what I mean?
Yes, and I think what you're kind of talking about is the fact that there weren't really characters to connect to, because everything was subtext, and it just got. It was almost like this is a really good example of kind of too much subtext.
Yeah.
A lot of films have too little, and they just tell you exactly what to feel. Where this is like, oh, it demands so much attention from you to enjoy it. And I felt like as I was watching it, I didn't have any distractions, and I was actually pretty ready for it. I was actually really excited too. Like just that, like even just the opening, I was like, oh, it looks so good that I'm like, I'm ready. And I knew it was Sufjan Stevens, so I'm
Oh
like
yeah, You are
I
a
have
Sufjan Stevens guy. I forget.
I am 100%, dude. I've been listening to him since like '04, so it's like I've been all over him. So like when it's funny enough, I was like gonna watch this movie because he did the score. I didn't even know the director and anything, I just knew he did the score, and so I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch it, and then I missed it. Anyways, but so I was like ready for it, and I was in it, but even I still was like, oh, it's like hard to. I know these characters. They're not like, it's kind of like not getting anywhere. Like the most exciting part in the movie is when they find the statue in the water. I'm like, and until the end, like towards the end, like I was like, God, they're not doing anything. Like the second act is like dragging, but like it's so beautiful and rich. And
It's like that's the point, right? It's just enough. It's a lazy, like it's portraying like a lazy, no responsibility, like the privilege of having to do nothing. Yeah. In this, and like want nothing, super supportive parents, but like also like educated, and like kind of just like there's a little bit of conflict within their relationship. It's like that's where the conflict comes from, and then also Elio just trying to like not show that he's straight or whatever, but he's obviously having like a little bit more of an internal conflict, and I think it's like a jealousy lash out kind of thing. But
when we kind of get into this, I firmly believe that they're both bi.
Oh yeah, sure.
And that's like that is like from seeing this, like they like I think it's like, but it's difficult because there's like it's a needle that needs to be threaded where like is Oliver getting married to satisfy like parents or somebody else
like a societal, just like he seems very more concerned with like appearances. You know what I mean?
Right. Thus that to me takes away from him being straight, or him being bi and more just gay, and now he's like hiding it with a beard or having just like appeasing people around him because he can kind of deal with it and then probably sleep with people on the side. Anyways, you're creating that whole story, and I'm curious if the books delve into that to like give more of like a definitive answer.
It's hard to say. I mean, I feel like,
I don't know.
And I mean, this obviously, if you're listening to this, you probably know, but like, we're two pretty much mostly straight white dudes. That can only say so much. But I do feel like that it's like there is a sort of like you don't see very often. Like I feel like men are not allowed to be bi. It's like they're kind of just like I don't know. It's like in movies, obviously, and in life, it seems more acceptable for women to be gay, but it's just like, bi. But it's like, so it is interesting to look at them through the lens of like, they are just bi and not like suppressing their homosexuality in a way. Because it does almost feel like that way. And I'm almost like, is that society and the way films have taught us? Or is it like, are they more, I don't know. It's a spectrum, baby. You know what I mean? And so it's just hard
of course.
It's hard to say, but it's just based on their characters, it's just like, I don't know. I'm reading. I don't know.
I think they are because at least from Elio and his relationship with the girl that he breaks her heart. I love that too. I love that they're old school friends, and then like he knows her really well. She knows the family, and they kind of like they hook up, and like I think the reason is like the parents are supportive of him being with like a woman or being with a man, so it kind of like lets him develop that. And I do think that like he truly like loved her, but then Oliver came in and he was like, oh wait, this is my like awakening.
He's discovering himself,
and then he's 17, so he's like he could have not been gay, and then they could have just made it where he's straight and he fucks her over, and that's the movie. You know, that could have been that love story. Like they because they pretty much do that, just kind of like an abridged version. It's a quicker version of that where they ramp it up, where she's like, I'm afraid you're gonna break my heart. You know, and then he does it, and then he's such a dick when he just like shrugs, you know, when she's like, you know, whatever. She's like, did you even love me? And he like shrugs, and it's just like, I'm like, oh, that's brutal. But that just seems like immaturity, not him being like, I'm gay.
Not even like
you know,
a sexuality,
like,
like a very strong. Yeah, I agree with that. It does feel like more like
right. And so it feels like he
had a connection with Oliver's character,
right.
And so it's like that's more like, you know, this movie to me was very much like lost summer love, like. Look back and like on that summer love, you know, that's one summer. And like this girl is just like, it does feel like more like, I know her, she's familiar, I'm a bored teenager, I'm horny. I like her, like, and everything, but she doesn't excite me the way he does. And so the second he gets more of the, you know, he shifts to her when he's like, can't have Oliver. And then when Oliver's like fucking suddenly into it, he drops her like a fucking hot potato and doesn't even give her a second thought.
I know.
And it's like, that's immaturity, but that feels real.
Yeah, that's right. It feels so real. And I think that like I love that like Elio gets kind of the same treatment, but it's a softer version of it, where Oliver doesn't just drop him with a shrug, but he drops him with a phone call. He calls him. He just says, I'm going to live this life here, you know, whatever.
That's the final nail. Like you can tell when he gets on the train too, where it's just like, he doesn't say anything, but you can tell from his face, he's like, I hate goodbyes. I don't want to do this.
And I'll
like,
never see you
weird
again.
Goodbye. And even though I say I'm moving back here, it's like in the moment I was like, yeah, I want to see you, but it's like that's not gonna. He knows the reality of it, and then it's like, yeah, that phone call is like. Just so you know, I mean, I'm thinking about you, and what we had was special, but that is the past because I'm a mature 25-year-old or whatever. It's getting married now.
Yeah, but I love the parents, or even the whole like. There's a lot of like subtext that comes through really well with the later, where he's like, oh, you know, I'll love to visit you guys again, and he's like later, you know, and it just I don't know. I think there's a lot, and they're like later, you know, like. I love how they use that later. Like later was said 19 times in this movie, and I think there's a lot more like importance to it.
Yeah, well, that's a good point.
Scene, and it's his character where it's like once he says like later, he's kind of like
it's the
done,
commitment too, where it's just like later is not goodbye, right? And it's because goodbye is final. Right. Goodbye is committing to something. Later is very just like non-committal, shrug it off. Kind of like of it, you know, of the thing, you know, which it totally encapsulated his character. So yeah, it's like the fact that they focus so much on it, and he's like, don't you think it's arrogant that he says later all the time? But then
I know, I love it. Well, dude,
it becomes like kind of a little joke. Yeah,
through the Italian lens, and like seeing this American, how they perceive him, and it's I don't know, it's interesting to see that like cultural differences there.
I know,
it's
and
very,
he is such a
it's very subtle. There's a lot of subtext in this. That is really rich, and so I want to see this movie again.
I do too, because that's the thing. It's like, even though I was having a hard time, it's not like I wasn't paying attention. I was just like, the pace felt right, but like my body and my mind were working at a different pace, and so it just wasn't jiving. But like, no, yeah, like, I don't know. There is like a lot of really good just character stuff going on the whole time, and like their relationship, even though it's like, I don't want to say subtle. I don't want to keep saying subtle, but like
I know. Yeah,
let's just say nuanced, because it is like it does feel very natural, but the one thing I think it pulls its punches a bit, like we've said, kind of slightly on some of the stuff to stop it from feeling maybe raw. Like it does feel a little rose-colored glasses slightly, and it's like I was waiting for like some like more just like an intense, like big moment, or like
Well, I was waiting for that, like the
a
grandma
dramatic,
or
yeah. The like
was waiting for her to
maid
come in
even
with
to
it.
they're like, oh, she always is
or-
looking for stuff, like some kind of like
or the maid.
more conflict. And there was a lot of internal conflict kind of with each other, and like them discovering each other in their bodies, and not getting caught sniffing fucking underwear or whatever. But like
Yeah.
and so to say there's no conflict would be disingenuous and like kind of a dumb take. But it, like, you would expect more. Like I was expecting like I don't know. I was 17 once, and it's like I was nowhere near as fucking chill, even though he was in compared to everyone else. They both seem like pretty immature compared to everyone else and like the way they do. But it's just like, I was waiting for like an outburst, or it'd be like, you're just embarrassed to be seen with me, like something. Like, I don't know. I was waiting for something like that. It never came, but there's like so much more little read between the lines moments that like work better, I guess, without it. So it's just like, I do think this would probably, I don't think you'd get like a lot of extra nuggets, but I do think on a second watch, expectations for me would be like a big benefit of kind of just knowing, like, you know what, I'm going to kick the shoes off. I'm going to watch this bad boy, just kind of really just soak into it, and wish that I was in a summer love teenager in, Italy in the 80s. Living the fucking dream like
dude.
that.
They got, and like the amount of nectar they got, baby, that was, oh my gosh. They were like living on that like fruit orchard, and it just, they were eating so much good fruit, and like the peach got violated. We kept feeling like,
what's the opposite of scurvy? I feel like there's got to be an opposite of just like a sickness when you eat too much
vitamin C.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get like some like vitamin poisoning or something. I think it's just called diabetes. I don't know. You drink too much apricot nectar.
That's what it is. That's why I got the beatus. It's the nectar I'm drinking.
Yeah. Like when that time when he drinks the apricot juice, and it's just like, it's the thickest. I can't remember. There's a company with like a hummingbird on it, and it's like those cans of like, it's literally just like canned
nectar.
syrup
It's just
from
so
like,
thick.
just fruit
when we
syrup that
say
you're chugging.
like, subtext and subtle, it's like so many small character things, which is what I appreciate, because it's just like, it really focuses on, there's like a lot of big sections without dialogue, and it's like he gets the fucking drink and he just chugs it. You know what I mean? He downs it.
Right.
He's like,
and he says that earlier.
He's a
He's
glutton.
like, I can't stop.
He's a glutton a little bit when it comes to eggs, nectars, and young boys.
And young tiny hole. He crushes that fucking egg at the beginning. It's amazing. And I just love that too, where it's also like they're all like Americans, like rolling their eyes, like these brutes. But then they're like, well, we can't deny that he's the hottest piece of ass we've ever seen in our lives.
Everyone, the whole town is just like, look at this guy.
The whole town is like, yeah, they're lusting over this man.
I mean, like, Timothy Chalamet, he's the twink I want, but I'm like,
No.
even Armie Hammer is, they're just like, it's too bad Armie Hammer's a creep, because I like him.
He is his body makes me uncomfortable. Like, he's too thin.
Well, I know, but that's what I'm saying. It's just like, he could be my twink.
I think
go that route.
I think in Bones and All, that's where
that's the vibe.
pure,
though, yeah.
Clearly,
he's
that's
so
like the
skinny
punk.
in Bones and All too. Though he's like
so
even
skinny,
skinnier.
But he has more. He's defined.
He's lean.
He's definitely got more muscle.
Yeah.
He's lean with more muscle because he's been working for Dune or he's getting ready for Dooner, and then so he was
no,
like,
it's just
because
he's just living on the road eating dudes.
Yeah, dude.
Bones and All is good.
Yeah, that's a gay movie.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah,
fucking Timothy Chalamet, man. Like, it's I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that guy, because it's like, I do like him.
Sure,
I like him. He's a good
Yeah.
actor.
I like him too. He's fine.
I feel like he's both overrated and underrated. Like, I feel, which is weird, right? Because it's like, I feel like when I see him in some movies, I'm like, oh yeah, he's crushing it. But then like his popular movies, I'm like, that's whatever, it's fine. Like, Wonka or Dune or something, which I love Dune, but whatever. But,
No, of course we love Dune, but he's not.
But like,
I'm
Don't Look
like
Up.
really bummed.
He's like just like a weird side character, and he's fucking hilarious in Don't Look Up.
Yeah, that's the thing. And I think it's after he did. So I can't take him serious anymore because when he did his press tour for the Bob Dylan, biopic, he like literally was just like
he discovered method
like,
acting or something. He's like,
yeah, right. He was
he's
just
like, we're just doing
I got the guitar and and he's like I'm the greatest actor that's
if you're
ever
not,
lived.
we're
Like,
doing some
okay,
really really crazy things. If you're just not doing it real, then you're not. If you're not doing it live, then you're just not doing it at all. Type of shit, right?
Well, and
Which
and
is
it was
fair.
very like, it's like yes, of course, have your confidence, but you know, you just I don't know.
He's
It's
we're
like,
at that
whatever. But
age. We're
he's
old
fine.
now, Jordan. Where it's just like he's younger than us.
That's true.
And he's been a movie. He's like been an A-lister for a minute. You know what I mean now. So I like him, and it's like so he's good, and I like him in this movie. He feels very. I feel like he has the capacity, and maybe it is because he is so fucking scrawny and shit. But like he has the capacity to feel really vulnerable. But like his acting is really fucking good too, and so it's like he portrays
his acting's-
vulnerability
it
really
is good.
well. I feel like.
Right. Totally. Like in this movie, he does so many things that like work so well for his character that I'm like, okay, I am convinced that you are a good actor. There is something about him that I just like. it's hard to take him serious in certain roles, and I don't know.
I think it's his roles.
I'm trying to
though.
think.
Like I think
man.
he is a good actor,
Yeah.
but it's just like because even and it's like I think he does great in Dune. Like that's probably his biggest one. I think he's great in it though. I need to see the Bob Dylan one, but it's just like he does. He's like I don't know something about him. We'll see. So I wish Armie Hammer wasn't a creep because it's like I've never been like. Oh yeah, Armie Hammer's my guy. But every movie I've ever watched with him in it, I've always been like, I like this guy. You know what I mean? He's like, I like his look, I like his vibe, and he's a pretty good actor. It's like first movie I saw him in, and I think a lot of people probably did. It was like one of his bigger movies that earlier on was a Social Network, where he plays the twins, right?
Yeah, he plays
But I don't know.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
It's just too bad.
You eat one person and then
I know.
then you get vilified. It's like
That's
you
true.
can't work in this town anymore. Apparently, he did like I didn't even look. I was watching an interview with him before we started this because I was like, I gotta know like what's up with him. He kind of, I think the stress got to him when people were just like, I guess it's like I've never been on the end of a rape allegation, so I can't really get
Yeah,
in
it sounds like he wasn't
headspace of somebody who's like, oh yeah, I beat and raped this woman.
He's a
but I
preppy
didn't do
rich
it.
boy that was abused his girlfriend.
But
allegedly.
what I found out is, well, I mean, he did definitively though. He even admitted
Did he?
it. But
I don't know.
but he.
I mean, I believe it
didn't,
100% because it's like,
Yeah.
of course he did. But
Yeah, he admits that like she says what happened, and he says that's exactly what I'd like to do to people, and he's like, and maybe she let me do that.
I mean, who?
And then
that's
like,
the thing.
and it's
Everyone,
fine, whatever.
Everyone buried the whole like, hey, I abused and like raped my girlfriend. They buried it under the cutesy headline of like he had like a cannibal kink or whatever, or like which. I mean, who doesn't have a little cannibal kink? I mean, I'll fucking bite your little toes off or whatever, but...
Nibble
Sure.
on somebody. And that was his defense, literally, was like,
But-
when you want to eat up a cute baby? It's
That's
like, buddy, you're
cuter
like,
than... Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like...
then his whole thing is like
if
the
it was
consensual
just
non-consent,
that...
which is...
If it was just that,
Such
I'd let it fly. I'd drop it because it's like...
Yeah.
You know.
Right. But it's two women. He has that documentary about him, like whatever it's called, like The World of Hammer or something. But I found out a little bit about his family, and it's crazy. And I really want to watch that documentary now.
Yeah, I know he's like
because he's
super,
got like they're like an
super
oil
rich nepo family.
Yeah,
type vibe.
but the funny thing is they disowned him after all the controversy, and so I'm like, I don't think like an evil billionaire corporation would disown you unless there was like some factor.
Because that's the thing. It's like if
just
anyone was gonna be an
Right.
actual cannibal, because we're over here being like, haha, cannibalism for fun, which
But-
I mean, it's all fun and games,
Yeah.
but it's like
he's-
a
he's-
really
he's-
rich,
yeah.
preppy rich boy that's like, I mean, he probably ate a homeless child. I could see it.
I get no, dude. I was gonna say like if you tell me like one of the Kennedys hasn't eaten a human
Yeah,
being,
for sure.
I'm gonna
I
like
think
no
Robert
way.
Kennedy
Show me
ate
the
a guy for sure. He definitely did.
yeah,
Look at that guy.
100%, dude.
He's wearing his
100%.
skin as we speak.
I know, literally, though, yeah. But yeah, anyways, the Army Hammer stuff is like, it's a trip, dude.
It's just too bad because it's like, I like his vibe as an actor, but that's the thing. It's like,
right.
Because he can act and is handsome doesn't mean he's a good person. I mean, how many times have we talked about that?
Yeah.
But it's too bad because it's like, maybe we'll watch it one of these times, but I've talked about it before once that right before all the controversy, or maybe right when the controversy was happening, I don't remember, he did a little horror movie for Hulu called Wounds that I really liked. And I want to watch it again, kind of. And because it's like a little cosmic horror, and it's based on a short story that I enjoy as well. It's kind of fun, but he's pretty good in it too. It's a little cosmic horror.
Horror-tober's coming up.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying.
Maybe, in
it's
October,
always,
we'll put
dude,
it on the docket.
Bro, it's always coming up.
I know it literally.
October
That's
is
how it feels.
always around the corner, even in November. It's like,
either,
fuck, it's coming.
It's either happening or it's about to come up. Yeah. But I want to say something real quick. Kind of my last thoughts about this before we get to Money Minute. I love the climax of this film. It's so refreshing. It made me feel like Ghost Story, where like the climax is just like this kind of like monologue, like a 4-minute monologue,
from the dad
person. From the dad.
So good.
I love that so much, dude.
I love the ending, like the whole last 30 minutes.
I got daddy issues.
So good.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Right. That's the last 30 minutes. But that
the
scene
daddy
when he
issues
comes to his
hit
dad,
me right in the
they're
daddy
on
issues
couch,
too, bud.
dude.
I feel you.
Dude, it's so hard. Like I'm just like, God, oh man, he's so good.
Wish
so
my dad
supportive.
had one
and,
earnest conversation with me.
And I know exactly, yeah. And it's like I know that in this movie his dad has definitely tweaked the nipples of some bronze men, dude. I know for a fact that mother flipper is like
the statues.
He's been in there like
yeah.
He's definitely kissed one.
I like
one of those bronze.
I like your
statues.
sound effect better.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, for sure,
like, guaranteed, man. Because he comes out, or he like says like he's like I know what it's like to have
been there.
A wonderful love.
It reminds me
maybe a little forbidden.
It reminds me of what is it? It's like 30 Rock when he's talking to the guy and he's like, "Nah, it's not gay. It's just two men who want to enjoy each other's strength." Like
yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, because he's like, I love it. Oh yeah, he fights. Like, his gay. That's good for Queer Month.
Yeah.
But
it was very good. No, the ending though, the whole ending was.
I love that.
So good because it's like. I like the build up. I liked where it's going. I like them in their relationship, like in the depths of it, was good. But like when he left and his dad was kind of like, hang on to it, let it flourish, like take the good from it. Don't just rip it out of yourself and be less than. This is a great, great speech. So good.
Yeah. And that's one thing that actually kind of bummed me out though with that speech is I was like the rest of the movie, I feel like they could have had. That was like the one thing where it's like what I'm saying is the subtext kind of killed me for this is that I was like, oh wow, they wrote such a good speech that I'm like, I know you could have done this a little bit more throughout the movie, had more character connections through like conversation, which
you would think earnest conversations because I feel like they don't really. I mentioned this. We'll talk about it in a minute, but Clones for People 2 mentioned something about this in his comment on the Reddit, but. It's like they don't really like have these conversations with each other about how they're feeling. Like they over intellectualize like so many things when they talk, but like when they're in person, they're very like playful, puppy doggy. They don't talk. It's like almost like they don't know how to be earnest in that way because it's like earlier on. I mean, I like it and it makes sense, but it's like his mom is reading that story about that night, right? That's like, does he speak up? And that kind of inspires him to admit his feelings for Oliver. And so like when they go to the town, he's like, I like you, but he doesn't come out and say I like you. He does it in like a weird, even though he's like, I'm just going to put my foot down and just say my piece because I'm inspired. But then he also is super cryptic and weird about it that he's like, are you saying what I think you're saying? And I'm like watching it and being like, are you? What the fuck are you saying, bro? Like, I know you guys are basically touching chins right now. So you must be saying I'm DTF. But like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, just speak it. I don't know. So no, I see what you're saying because it's like you can't just I don't know. the rawness. Again, I feel like there's a certain amount, like, it's real. The realness and the nostalgia factor is all there, but there's a certain
I'm down with that.
open wound intensity that comes with young love, and like maybe that's the difference between summer love. Summer love is more like fun and playful. I shed one tear over it at fucking Hanukkah, and then I'm good. But like young love, it's fucking, you feel that shit hard, man. You know what I mean?
And it's formative too. It's like this is that's how come I'm curious about the books, because I'm like I want to see like Elio's like his
He's probably like
relationships
14
after that,
in the
you
book,
know?
though. You know, like
But-
unfortunately, like I bet.
I know, right. Yeah, but
I will say, because I actually, even though I just kind of ripped on it a little bit, I loved the ending. Like the phone call, like it felt all very, very bittersweet, because it's like with the context, like without that conversation that Elio had with his dad, it would have been like a gut punch. But with that conversation, it really comes more like a bittersweet, like finally getting closure. You know what I mean?
right. And I think he has the strength now. Like he
gives a little cry
his parents are
at the
supportive
fire with the music, and it's
like,
real good.
He can handle that,
And he's
know?
been
That-
stewing
that's
in it
his
for
character
months
development.
now. Yeah, it feels very much like that he's putting that chapter behind him, and he's going to move on with his life and be better for it, you would hope, right? And so I think really good. And well, I do. So I think that ending of him, and also I just like movies that like either end on a really high note and then cut to black, or I do like it when they like keep the credits going over, like, you know, like
over the
Pearl
credits. And that is
or something. Or
Pearl's
it's just
the one
like,
the first one that came to mind for sure. And so it's like, and that Pearl's like the best. That's
where
I've
they
ever
just
seen.
like let it,
But-
they just kind of like let it play out. So you kind of have to sit with it a little bit more, which I like it, because it's just like an excuse to, because if you did that without credits, they'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? This is like 3 minutes of him just staring into space crying. But it like, it really works.
Right.
Because you feel it. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I felt it. Like, it felt not quite the gut punch that it could have been. And I think that's for the best, though. It's the soft, I dreaded this day was
ache.
coming. Yeah, the ache. I dreaded this day was coming. The inevitability of it. And now that it's here, it still hurts, but it's like I was ready for the blow. And it's like, it's a deep ache that you're willing to put behind you, I don't know. But I guess maybe that's the whole movie. Maybe that's why it's not raw, because if it was raw, then he'd sob probably, you know?
I think, or if it was raw, I feel like it'd be, this movie I feel like is more controversial because of kind of what happened IRL after the fact, you know? But I mean, it got nominated for shit, and it was like, it won like an Academy Award and stuff. So it's like, it clearly just got that. It had its publicity, but, which is wild, because this movie, to Money Minute now, let's come over here. This corner. Money Minute corner. This movie was only like, it's hard to find an exact number. It was 4 million, like whatever Italian currency is, euros. They do euros. I don't know what the hell they
They
use
say
over
it
there.
in the movie, but I don't know if those are the real currency anymore.
like Cilios or something, whatever they call them. But
Italianos. They call them
Italian,
spaghettios.
they do call them spaghettios, maybe. Yeah. But that it's like, but I assume that like there's probably a conversion, and it's probably like maybe it's more than here. Like maybe it's like 6 million or something around there. But anyways, very low budget. I mean, under 10 million.
Oh, yeah.
For this movie, which is insane. And like before it even went to Sundance, it was purchased by like Sony Classic, or what's Sony Classic, or
I think it was Sony Classics. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the like blue line, the white line, blue background. But anyways, they bought it, and it made like 67. I don't know.
Very nice. Yeah.
I had it up.
For
so
this kind of
it,
movie, because I remember when it came out. I heard it was really good. I wanted to see it, but it like wasn't like I need to go see that. But now, I'm glad it won the poll. I mean, I voted for it on the poll, because it's like, now that all the work that Guadagnino's made since then has done nothing but impress, I was like, I gotta go back and finally watch that fucking movie. Yeah. You know what I mean? And obviously I'm glad I did. And yeah, it makes sense, because it's like, I'm glad I did. I remember at the time, it did I don't know if it won anything at the Oscars, but I remember getting nominated for a pop.
It won screenplay. I thought Suvan won the award, but he didn't win the Oscar for it. I thought
for the music.
he was nominated. I remember we did the
We were doing
I remember we
Oscars
did
by
the
then. Oh, yeah.
Oscar party. Yeah, we did an Oscar party for this one. Yeah, I remember when it was. But I forgot that he.
It was at
lost.
the
I really thought he
Duplex.
won.
It was right before I moved up to Ogden.
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
I think Brandon was there that year. Anyway, I know. I think that was the one year that we watched all the Oscar movies, and Thomas first started getting into movies, and he blamed me. Ever since then, he's like, "Fuck you for getting me into movies," because now I like, I was ignorant, and ignorance is bliss. And so now he's like, now I watch movies like so critically and all this shit. And he watched this movie, all the Oscar movies, and he watched this one, and he's like, oh, and then I didn't watch it, so he had no one to talk to about it with, and he was pissed. So for years, he's like, you got to watch Call Me By Your Name. So, Thomas, if you're listening, I hope you're happy.
I know, finally, yeah.
Even though, fuck you, you didn't comment on the Reddit, so you better comment to my face when I see you in a couple of weeks. So, anyway, speaking of Reddit, I got a couple, so let's see what we got. So Avery 5712 says, great movie, definitely captures that lazy summer vibe as well, and the cinematography is great. Too bad Army Hammer maybe ate someone. Yeah, it is too bad.
Yeah, I mean, it really is too bad.
Lazy summer vibe is absolutely true. That's what it is. And then Ink and Intellect says, it's truly beautiful. Honestly, the symbolism placed throughout is something I think of quite often. How raw the emotions feel without diving completely into it is something not a lot of directors can capture. The cinematic shots in this film are a wet dream in itself. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's a good point, though. Thank you for the comment, but that's a good point about, like, I was, like, saying I wish it was more raw, but it's, like, that is something that's hard to capture. That it's like this.
That's what I mean. It's like I love his movies so much.
They are.
Like,
I really do.
I just and like everyone I see, I'm like, knowing this was kind of before. It's kind of funny to say that because it's like he's made movies for like almost 20 years before this one, but it's like this was this, and then it's like I'm like, so I like Suspiria like gets better, and then like Challengers gets better.
That's the thing, yeah.
So
Challengers
to it queer. It's like
I'm surprised at how much I like Challengers. Thinking back on it too, because I mean I liked it at the time, of course, but
yeah,
I had my issues with it. But it's like those issues now seem so small because the good things had such staying power. But it's like this movie does feel really like Call Me By Your Name feels really like mellow and like subtle compared to like Challengers, where it's like everything in that movie is also context and like not overtly spoken, but everything is like a fucking mind game, which makes it so much more stressful though.
Yeah,
right.
Like,
everything in Challengers
his intensity
is like passive aggressive. It's like if like the first parts of this movie where they're like being passive aggressive to each other, and he's like, don't be the good host, and like my dad likes to ride up front, so you ride in the back. Like all these weird like little jabs. It's like that times 10. That's all of Challengers, the whole movie.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, so yeah, good comment. Thanks for those guys. And then I got and then Closer People 2 says, he says, first watch, it's been on my radar for a while, and more so since we watched the others of Guadagnino's. Mostly good, but a little mixed. It's a great character study through a summer romance. I particularly like the soundtrack and how Elio's music defined his growth and change, whereas Oliver's was more carefree with his 80s new wave. Great storytelling. That's a good point. I like that.
Yeah, I did. I mean, I love how they both had like their distinct characters, and then it was like super, played through their actions and their environment, and I loved it. Yeah, that was great. Like for that,
Yeah, for sure. He goes on to say, the cinematography is beautiful, a cozy and summer daydream with great natural lighting. The sound design, too, I really noticed the atmosphere. The one thing that brought it down for me is that it was a little too intellectual over emotional at times. Like, there was great subtext in the writing and incredible acting, especially Chalamet, but I found that some of the key emotional scenes had too much heavy subtext over passion. For example, the scene in the town where they first admit feelings just felt too indirect. That's a, you know what? The lack of, the passion they have when they're hands on is there. Right. But yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's a good, passion is a good way to say that. Like, you feel some of it, but it's just like, I feel like it's hard because I feel like most of us in relationships have had, I don't know, especially in film, we're used to people talking about it, but also in real life. So,
right. I think that's what it is. It's just like there were a couple conversations missing in this movie, and I think it was like I noticed that, and that was kind of what made me feel uneasy, and I don't think on purpose. I felt the dreaminess.
They talked through their muscular bodies.
I really though, yeah. But yeah, the soundtrack was beautiful. Like even stuff that Sufjan, or if I don't even know if now I have to look it up because I'm not sure if he did all of the piano instrumental, but his songs were wonderful.
Good. The score is really good, and the songs are really good.
That part where Ilio's reflecting, and it's playing that Sufjan song, and it the film starts to you start to see the film. It kind of, I don't know, it shifts, and when they transfer the digital to film and back and forth,
that. I did notice that. And stuff.
And it's you can see it come through, and it's super kind of art school, artsy, just for maybe, I don't even know, a minute max, 30 seconds. But that was an accident, and I think it just I think it played wonderfully. It was so cool to have that. And it's one of those happy accidents, that
it is.
They could have gone through and just reshot it, but it's I'm glad that they kept it in. I love when mistakes make it into film.
Me too. It's that,
and it works. And it works.
Well, yeah, right. And then he goes to finish up with, he says, overall, I think it will grow on me, and I'll probably watch it again. No slight on the film, but it might be my least favorite of Guadagnino's films, only because Bones and All, Suspiria, and Challengers were so good. I look forward to his version of American Psycho. Couldn't have said it better myself. Thank you, good sir.
I know. Yeah, really, though, we say this every time, but you just do the podcast, and we'll listen to you. We'll subscribe to you.
We rebel and try to get our thoughts together over the course of 45 minutes to an hour. And Clones of People 2, he's just I got you. And he just fucking distills it into fucking a couple paragraphs. So, but yeah, no, absolutely. That's a good way. I felt the exact same way where it's just it's not my favorite, but it's I'm going to think fondly on it. And they're all good. But yeah, I'm looking. I want to see, because it's the fact that this guy, I think that's why I'm so impressed with him. It's he's got such a vibe. But also, the first thing that impressed me about him was the fact that it's he can do two tonally different movies.
Yes.
And have it be just somehow work so well and still be distinctly his style and his vision. But, and I think that's why I like Bones and All the most, that's my favorite, is because it is the romance of Call Me By Your Name, but it's also the brutality of Suspiria. So it's it's kind of both of his preferred subject matters rolled up into one. Juicy fucking road trip ropes. That's a summer romance. That's the one.
It really is.
He
it
probably
really is. It's a fever dream of romance too.
Armie Hammer was probably fucking pissed that he didn't get to be in that movie.
I know,
He's about eating. He didn't get to eat that girl's finger. You know?
Yeah. Oh my god.
He wanted to play Mark Rylance's character and just drool everywhere.
Yeah.
Anyway, good movie. Good director. Good stuff. I think a good start to the month.
Bad Hammer, but
bad. Yeah,
here we are.
That's unfortunate, but
I'm excited to see what we got coming down the pipe.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what movies. Make sure to go to the Reddit or the YouTube and vote on movies that we're going to watch this next week. I'll be posting a thing for that within the next day or so. So go vote. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. So pull a couple suggestions. 1 week I'll probably maybe do some docs, a couple documentaries maybe even.
Yeah, no, 100%. I
saw a couple cool ones that look good. I've been kind of
really good, yeah.
Been kind of looking around, looking at some stuff that I want to see. These were obviously this poll was a lot of the big ones that showed up, so kind of wanted to put them against each other so there wasn't an infighting. we'll see. We'll see what comes up next. I'm looking forward to it. And so, being Pride Month and everything, it kind of all worked out. And great, I'm glad we're doing it. I'm glad we're doing it. So I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Check us out on Patreon.
Patreon is the other thing.
Pretty please. And check us out on the YouTubes and Reddit. Thank you.
There it is. All right, bye now.
All right, bye-bye.